We spent some time here in Texas over the past week looking at whether or not this is a state that may be in the Democratic, plans for 2020, and we found some people who tend to agree with that. As the Democratic presidential candidates debate in Houston Thursday night, they will be in a state rich in Democratic history, from presidents to governors to senators. Texas last elected a Democrat statewide in 1994. Now, ironically, it's a 2018 Beto O'Rourke loss that has many Democrats here optimistic.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the potential endorsements across the state, I guess.
Oscar Silva is executive director of Battleground, Texas. Since 2013, they have been focused on turning Texas blue.
We had a very charismatic and energizing candidate in Beto, but we also had an all-time record for Democratic candidates across the board, across the state.
Silva says that momentum hasn't let up.
People are becoming not just civically engaged for the first time by registering to vote and voting, they're actually becoming volunteers.
So far, 5 Republican House members from Texas have heard the footsteps and chosen not to seek re-election next year.
Some of these members, of the first 5 who got out, 3 are in districts the Democrats could actually win.
Ross Ramsey is executive director of the Texas Tribune. He says that it wasn't only the Senate race.
You know, the thing that was interesting about the O'Rourke race was the backwash.
The backwash being underwhelming Republican victories across the board.
The governor won by about 10 points. He won the last race before that by 20 points. But the lieutenant governor finished less than 5 points ahead.
And that's when heads started to turn.
The Democrats and the Republicans looked at that result and said, something's happening here.
The state party says that this was all part of a gradual plan.
I tell everybody my thing is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's right.
Deborah Peoples leads the Democratic Party in Tarrant County outside of Dallas. She says the state house wins last year were big.
How you change their lives is by voting locally, then it starts to build this groundswell. So it's got to start from the bottom up.
Much of the red to blue work now falls to congressional candidates here, like Gina Ortiz Jones, who is highlighting health care, veterans affairs, and guns in her second run for Congress.
For us, it's not red or blue. It's really, these are things that are affecting Americans' lives, Texans' lives, and we need a different way. And, and we need new leadership that's going to help make that happen.
Kim Olson is running for a North Texas seat. She, too, sees a big difference since last year.
Folks who had never been in the political arena before stepped up. They ran for office. They became activists. They started their own clubs. I mean, they really got off the sidelines.
But the talk still has Republicans seeing, well, red. Darl Easton is chairman of the Tarrant County Republicans.
The Republican base will show up and will bring many, many other independents with us that don't like socialism.
Republican primary candidates don't see it happening.
I don't believe that you're going to see any kind of a blue wave in Texas at all.
I don't know that I agree that there's a bluing of Texas. Again, we're running the wrong candidates, and that's part of it.
But it is hard for Republicans to ignore that 500 people move to Texas every day.
A lot of Californians here, a lot of people from Nebraska and Michigan and all over the country coming to Texas. And the politics are changing.
So too are the demographics.
We are seeing a generational impact that's going to outlive the season even, where you see young Latinxes, young immigrants themselves or children of immigrants.
And this time, Donald Trump is on the ballot.
Donald Trump, as loud as he is, he's not very new for Texas. Again, we've had potentially more tactful Republicans, but they have been attacking our communities just like he has.
Ross Ramsey cautions that it isn't over yet for Texas Republicans.
The water's higher, but it's not in the House yet. It's one of those things where the state is a little bit less reliably red than it has been, but it's still red.
And that's one part of Texas that Democrats want to mess with.